Introduce our guest speaker, Mrs. Gayatri Rao, Senior Vice President of Hdfc Bank, Mumbai. Mrs. Gayatri Rao is a dynamic and experienced leader in retail banking with a remarkable journey, and it's my honor to trace the journey for the audience today. Madam started her career as a customer service officer at ANZ Grindlays Bank, wherein she gained exceptional hands-on experience across various departments such as credit cards, retail banking, and overdue collections. After rendering almost 9 years of service at Grindlays Bank, Madam moved on to serve as the Deputy Vice President at Hdfc Bank, Mumbai. Having held various positions in branch banking, Madam acquired key relationships for the bank and was instrumental in creating Trade Forex Manual for the bank. Not less than a marvel, Madam was a pan-India top performer with a score of 846% and highest revenue earning RM in the country. Climbing up the ladder, Madam went on to hold the position of Senior Vice President and was cluster head of various clusters in Mumbai. While Madam served as Vice President, she was instrumental in growing branch banking business across clusters in Mumbai, acquired one of the largest government relationships for the bank, was responsible for leading the cluster in India with the largest book size of rupees 20,000 crores in the financial hub of South Mumbai, and many more. Currently, Ma'am heads as a Senior Vice President and Zonal Head for the Employee Banking Financial Solutions, Hdfc Bank, Mumbai. Adding to her professional excellence, Madam was honored with several awards consistently for driving third-party products, retail assets, and for delivering the highest per-resource productivity. To cap it all, Madam had won Merit Award for 8 years consecutively and was the winner of the first Super Tejaswini Award and Tejaswini Award. I now heartily welcome Mrs. Gayatri Rao, who will be sharing with us her thoughts and words of wisdom on how to live a life of purpose. Mrs. Gayatri Rao, welcome to the stage.
Sairam, I offer my humble pranams to Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I take this opportunity to thank the HOD here, the faculty members for having me here, because for me this has been a long-awaited moment. Exactly 31 years ago, I completed my BSc here, and in the last year of my BSc, I had the opportunity to share my learnings from the life of Swami Vivekananda with all the students of the final year in the college. So I thank everyone for giving me this opportunity. So the subject that is, the topic that has been given to me is live a life of purpose. Familiar? How many of you have never been here in any of the situations? Every day? Anyone here who can say that you know it all and you have never been here? Very powerful slide, right? So, let's understand what is purpose. Can anyone tell me what is your understanding of what is purpose? Anyone? What is purpose? Yeah.
In my view, purpose is something, if we try to fulfill our purpose, it will give us satisfaction and some kind of peace in our life.
So what is that purpose?
For me, my purpose.
No. Can you repeat the sentence? Can you repeat the statement you made just now?
For me, purpose is something that if we try to fulfill it, if we are in the endeavor to fulfill it, then it will give me peace and
Fulfill
satisfaction.
what?
The purpose. My
So
purpose.
what is that purpose? So we all know if you fulfill the purpose, you will be accomplished. But what is that purpose?
Sarah, ma'am. Ma'am, I think purpose is something which we live for. Ma'am, to live for.
Absolutely. When you get up in the morning, just imagine a situation. You get up in the morning, you have nothing to do. What do? Just close your eyes and think. Don't go to sleep. Just close your eyes, because I know it's an afternoon session and the lunch was amazing, so one tends to go to sleep. I'm just saying, just close your eyes and think of a day where you really have nothing to do. You don't know, you have nothing to do. What's the feeling? You go mad, right? Absolutely. So, is it fair if we define that it is that feeling which makes you get up in the morning, and I call it in my term, adrenaline rush. Okay? Let me tell you, after spending 22 years in Hdfc Bank and 31 years in banking career, it's not possible if you don't get that adrenaline rush in the morning. It's essential. That is the purpose. Can anybody say that purpose can be same for all? No, right? It's as unique as your fingerprint. Do you know why at the time of investigation, do you know why the police takes your fingerprint? Because no two fingerprints can be the same. It's exactly that the purpose cannot be the same. It's unique. It's you. It's unique to you. And it, to a large extent, as I mentioned, it shapes your goals and it also gives you a sense of direction. So are we clear now? So if I now ask you, can you redefine the statement that you just now said?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is it?
Ma'am, purpose is something that which we try to, that gives us motivation to work throughout the day.
Absolutely. It's the reason why you exist. Okay? So the way I understand purpose is, we exist. This chair is here, right? Chair exists. So I exist. But when I add purpose, I lead a peaceful, meaningful, and blissful life. And that is why the purpose is extremely, extremely important. So there are two paths in human life. We all, thanks to Swami, we get a lot of, in terms of spiritual connection, okay? But there are two paths that are extremely important. One is pravritti and the other one is nivritti. Can anybody say that it's okay if we have only one? Can you? It's extremely important that we need to have both. Because the first one is a path of action and progress, while the second one is basically going inward and that's what I call self-discovery. As I mentioned, it declares that you do exist. So when I was given this topic, I remembered a beautiful story, and that story touched my heart. The story goes on like this, that a gardener on a bright Sunday morning, beautiful morning, stands in the middle of the garden and looks at the beautiful flowers that are blooming there, and his heart swells with pride because all his hard work has finally resulted into flowers blooming. So he walks on the garden. At the far end of at one corner, there is a grass that's shedding tear. So he was wondering that what happened. So he goes to the grass and he asks, "Hey, grass, what happened? Why are you crying?" So the grass was puzzled. The grass thought, "I'm at the fag end of the corner of the garden, but the gardener remembers me." So the grass said that, "I am so sad, that's why I'm crying." So the gardener asked, "So why are you crying?" So the grass said, "Everywhere I can see beautiful, colorful flowers. Okay, and when you look at the flowers, you feel so happy. But look at me, I'm at one fag end of the corner of the garden. What's the purpose? I don't know what is my purpose." And then the gardener, do you know what the gardener would have answered? Beautifully, the gardener answered. The gardener said, "You do have a purpose. And your purpose is that you're the favorite of Lord Ganesha. And you are the one who occupies, you are offered at the feet of Lord Ganesha." So this story is something that inspired me the most, because it just goes on to say everyone has a purpose. And the purpose can be unique. Some more information, some more understanding on what is purpose. Purpose is your why. Why do I need to? So I just asked all of you, just close your eyes and think. If you don't have anything to do, what do you do? So that's that why. It adds meaning to your life. It's extremely, extremely important, because if you don't have a purpose, what happens? Why do we hear people committing suicide? There is some mental illness. And where does that emanate from? It emanates because the purpose has not been identified. Does it mean that person did not have the purpose? No. The person had a purpose, but it's just that he didn't get help from the external. There are times you need somebody to help you in identifying the purpose. Neither he found the purpose, nor somebody aided him in finding the purpose. So it's extremely important because it aids your physical, mental, emotional health. As I mentioned, that it's my adrenaline rush in the morning, that I want to go to work and I want to do something in life. It doesn't allow you to go completely off the path that you have identified for yourself. And it helps you experience joy, happiness, and lead a more meaningful and satisfied life. So does it say that it's only human being who has a purpose? No. Every organization also has a purpose. So somebody in the morning beautifully explained. So is there a pen available? Can I just use this? Can I use this? Okay, that's fine. So let's assuming there are three circles. Okay, so one is like this, then the second one and the third one. Okay. Do you know why in the US Apple is the most preferred brand? No, that's fine. Do you know why Apple is the most preferred brand in the US?
compared to Samsung? Any guesses? So in the morning we saw the brand value, right? What topped the chart was Apple, and somewhere at the 5th or the 6th was Samsung. Any idea? If you're an MBA student, maybe you would have gone through this, but this is again a very, very powerful one. Any guesses? So there are 3 circles, okay? For Apple, the Y, WHY, is the center. This next one is how. And the last one is what. Why do you do what you do? How do you do what you do? Obviously, what everybody knows. Whereas for Samsung, it was completely the other way around. At the center, they had what, and then came the how, and the last came why. So even for organization, it's extremely important to understand that why. Again, this is what. We always get confused, purpose and goal. So let's talk about this in a more simple term. I'm a businessman. I set myself a target of, my turnover has to be 100 crores. That is goal. I set a target, and that is goal. What is purpose? Why do I set a target of 100 crores is the purpose. So why can be I want to be the market leader in that particular segment. I want to be number 1. I want to increase my market share and so on and so forth. So that's the difference between the purpose and goal. Yes, goal can be measured. Can purpose be measured? Can purpose be measured? No, because it's the reason for our existence, and it's something which is there till we die. When we set up, like for example, in this case, I told you the businessman decides to have 100 crore target. Once he achieves the target, what does he do? He sets the target, now let's take 200 crore. The purpose pushes him to ensure that he stays on that particular direction. And that is why I said goal is tangible. I won't say purpose is intangible, but it's more of a continuum. And it also has, when you go back to understand, it has a strong foundation of value system and belief system. How to find a purpose? Anybody here doesn't have a purpose? Then this is what you need to do. But I don't think, with Swami at the helm of the institution here, I don't think any of us can say that I don't know what is my purpose. But if at all, there are times we understand, there are times because, we are all human beings at the end of the day. There is no program that's happened, that's gone in, that it automatically gets validated or adjusted, right? But if at all anyone, at any point of time, we don't know what is the purpose, then this is what, there's a famous psychologist, Adam Dorsey, who says, how do you understand what is purpose and how do you set it? So he's explained in 3 beautiful ways. First, you understand what is your interest, okay? So for example, I want to be a scientist. Okay? If I want to be a scientist, that's where my interest lies. Can I then say, no, I will play cricket and I want to be and I will establish myself as a cricketer? No, it doesn't go together, right? So you have to keep a journal. All this we would have done enough and more number of times. Question oneself. Create a list of interests. You must, okay? Write down what you love. Find your joy. And the last one is very, very powerful. Don't follow social norms. Just because somebody has done it doesn't mean that that's the right thing to do, because that's unique for that person, not necessarily for you, right? The second one, stepping outside one to find oneself. This is extremely important. Let me tell you, may not be as relevant as it is here when you're studying, but when you go into the corporate world, this is extremely important factor for you to stay in terms of understanding what your purpose is and go about achieving. So there are 6 ways, he says. Purpose of humanity, understand. People who inspire, always be surrounded by people who inspire. Leaving the comfort zone. Nothing has been achieved within the comfort zone. If you want to achieve something, you have to get out of the comfort zone and keep on challenging yourself. Finding your strength. One of the statement, people who know me in HDFC Bank always says, as much as she falls down, how is it that she wakes up with double the speed and she runs? That is because of the inner strength. And that's extremely, again, critical. Stop thinking in obsolete and setting a purpose. Once you have that, then all that you need to do is you need to act on the purpose. Maslow's theory of needs. So let's first talk about this, then I will probably talk about that. What does the Maslow's theory of needs say? It says, as a human being, first our basic needs have to be met, which is having food, water, rest, warmth. That's the basic need. We also need to feel safe. Once you have this, then you go to psychological needs. You want to have a sense of belonging. You want to invest in a relationship. You feel loved. You want to feel loved. With that comes the sense of accomplishment. Once you are here, this is where one actually finally goes to, which is the path of self-actualization. But for the organization, it completely is reverse. For example, if HDFC Bank, what is the mission? I want to be a world-class bank despite being a private bank. Once that mission is established, then what happens? There has to be an objective set. There has to be a strategic planning that goes in. You can't run the bank like it's a proprietorship firm because there are a lot of guidelines, RBI guidelines, SEBI guidelines, FEMA guidelines. So then you set policies. And to make the policies effective, because anybody can join HDFC Bank, and then if you don't know the policy, you're putting this in trouble. So you form procedures. So you set step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And then that is what is called tasks. So is the process same for organization and individual? No, it's the same. Beautiful? Yeah? Want to be there? What's this? Ikigai. How many of you know Ikigai? Oh, very interesting. So you know what is Ikigai? Can anybody tell me what is your Ikigai? What is Ikigai? Sorry? What is Ikigai?
Ikigai is a true calling, ma'am.
True calling, okay. Absolutely. Iki stands for to live and Gai stands for reason. So there is this place called Okinawa in Japan. Now the author Hector Gracia wanted to understand, because he heard that this particular place Okinawa has the largest number of centenarians. Okay, so people who have lived beyond 100 and have a joyous life. So when he landed up there, he realized, he spoke to people, and then he realized, what is this Ikigai? Apparently, there is no retirement there. Why? Because people want to work as long as they want to work because they love what they do. Very simple living. Take enough rest. Do moderate exercise. One of the other things that they learned is they eat as much as they eat up to 80% stomach full. Why 80%? The moment they realize that the stomach starts feeling heavy, they stop, because all of you know, all your problem starts from there. Okay? Yeah. And so Mr. Gracia, when he went, he realized apparently in World War II, close to 2 lakh people died in Okinawa. But there has been no animosity, no hatred, no nothing. And people lived together, teamwork, community living, so on and so forth. And that apparently was the reason why Okinawa has the largest number of centenarians. And everyone there knows what is their Ikigai. So people who find their purpose have a meaningful life, they live life happily. So what's your story? I'll probably take about 5 minutes and talk about myself. I was not born a banker. I didn't come out of the mother's womb to say, I'm going to be a banker. I didn't come with that tag, for sure. If at all I wanted to be a teacher. So I was 3 years old when in Erode, the place where I was born, we had, my grandmother's friend happened to be running Balvika's class. So my grandmother put us in Balvikas and I was just about 4 years old. I used to go to Balvikas and I used to sleep. But going to Balvikas and sleeping was something that was non-negotiable. Okay? So I used to go, and one day I was told that, come, let's go to Ooty because, Swami is coming there. 4-year-old child doesn't know about Swami, right? So I went to Ooty and we were all sitting, and my guru, Balvika's guru, Sai Anna, we fondly call him, he continues to guide people even till today. So suddenly I was told that, Gayatri, you're going to put garland to Swami. And I was just 4-year-old child. I didn't know anything. So Swami came and I was lifted because I was so small. I was lifted. Swami said, no, wait. And he bent. And he took the garland and he created vibhuti and he said, where are you coming from? In Tamil. So I said, I'm coming from Erode. I didn't know Swami then. I didn't know. I was just having a conversation with him. So he said, you must be hungry, right? I said, yes. He said, please sit in the first row. Immediately he told people, please get snacks. They're all hungry. And he created vibhuti and he gave me. So that was my first experience of Swami. Went back and I didn't know that why I was selected. No idea. Even today I don't know. It just happened. Maybe that's his will, right? Went back and I used to be a very obedient Balvika's student. And I was in the 10th. Everyone goes through life's ups and downs. We were going through a lot of hardship. So for close to 3 years, we didn't have electricity in our house. I remember 10th and 12th exam, which is considered to be most critical. I remember giving the exam. I used to sit under the street light. and I used to give the exam. And in the 12th standard, so at that point of time, because I was going to Bal, because the only thing I knew was my purpose, as I say it, I wanted to get into Anantapur College. That was my purpose. So 10th exam went through, I cleared, but I studied in Tamil medium and I didn't know anything about English. So then they said, no, Sai Anna guided, if you have to get into Anantapur, you need to know English. Suddenly I was put into an English medium, 11th and 12th, government school. There everybody, though you would be given, your books were used to be in English, but they would speak in Tamil. And I cleared, under the street light. And when I went back to collect my, mark sheet, everybody started saying, there is one Gayatri who has topped the chart. It can't be you. And I was thinking, yeah, it can't be me. How could it be me? Physics, she topped, chemistry third and physics second. It can't be you, right? I said, yeah, it can't be me because I never had the one from Tamil medium to English medium and then without electricity. So I said, it can't be me. And then it turned out that I got 96% in maths, 92% in physics, and 94% in chemistry. But again, my purpose, I wanted to get into Swami's college. So I came, gave the exam, and here is the beauty. I got selected, but I had to attend an interview. I had to speak in English, and I didn't know a word in English. I just didn't know how to converse in English. And I was praying and praying and praying, saying, Swami, please let them ask me to sing a bhajan, because I don't know anything. I don't know how to answer in English. And when I went there, the interviewer asked me basic information, and then he said, can you sing a bhajan? And I had tears rolling down, and I still remember, I get goosebumps, and I got selected. Challenge didn't stop there. It started from there. And here I got into the first day of the college. I got into the room. Everyone was talking in English and I just couldn't understand. I could understand, but I couldn't respond. So you know what I coined? There was only one word I would answer everyone. Why are you doing this? Simply. Why are you not eating? Simply. Because I wouldn't know how to answer beyond that word simply. So, and English. Then the next trouble came. I had to choose a second language. In Tamil Nadu, English itself was not possible, and forget about the second language. But I said, no, I learnt Hindi, so I will take Hindi as my second language. I thought, now no more problem. I can read English. I know to read Hindi. I entered, and I remember still Kiran Bala ma'am. And they were going on and on and on, and I just couldn't understand what was happening. I came out in broken English. I said, can I take the second language, something else? They said, you have four choice: special English, Hindi, Sanskrit, Telugu. I said, how am I supposed to choose? I said, no, I will English, at least I can read that. The rest I can't read. And for 3 years, only because of Swami's blessings, in those 3 years, I don't remember buying ever any book. We used to go to the library, and I can tell you, my professors used to be so motivating. And I remember this professor, Krishna Kumari ma'am in chemistry, and Rita ma'am, who was taking my maths classes. They used to tell me, Gayatri, tomorrow I'm going to talk about this. You please go and read the earlier day so that you don't have a book and you can't look puzzled in the class. So I used to go the earlier day, read the book in the library, and next day I would come. And these were the professors who made sure that in the final year, and Krishna Kumari ma'am mentioned to me that in the final year, Gayatri, there will be one student who will be selected to speak in the auditorium. And my purpose was, I want to be that person, because for me that was very important. And again, who got chosen? I got chosen. So it went on like this. I graduated. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to do MSc, but family circumstances were such that I had to take up a job. I went to a school in Erode. They said, okay, you're selected, 500 rupees salary. And for me, 500 then was 5 lakhs because I had a family I had to take care of. My parents said, you know, you've never enjoyed life. Why don't you just go to Bombay, spend a month, come back, then lifelong pura struggle. Hey. So I said, okay, I packed 4 sets of clothes. Again, no matching clothes ever. One piece of sari, another piece of blouse, and all of that I packed. I said, okay, let me at least spend some peaceful time for 20 days and then go back and start working. I never went back to Erode after that. I started working in ANZ Grindlays. No, prior to that again. I gave the exam. There was a ad saying an MNC bank wants somebody. And imagine, I always wanted to be a teacher, but circumstances pushed me to apply for this job. There were 2,500 people who had applied. 250 got selected. In the interview, there were only 25 who got selected, and I was one among them. But then came the problem. The Anantapur University, the mark sheets were not admitted. They said, no, this is not acceptable. It's a deemed university and we don't consider. Again, I said, I don't know what to do now. And again, for everything, I remember 3 years of my stint in Anantapur. I don't remember a single evening where I've not spent crying when I used to attend the prayer. So I went back and I told them, you know, this is the only certificate I have and it is deemed university, and how can you say it's not considered? They said, no, we are not going to consider. Again, I went back and I prayed to Swami and I got a telegram saying, please come and join. And that was my first experience of a banker in ANZ Grindlays. Why I'm saying all of this is, you know, when you go outside, you know, life will throw a lot of challenges. But I think it's the belief in Swami and all the learnings we have had is the only thing that's going to take us through. I joined Hdfc Bank and I was the first female woman employee in the bank who was given an award called Tejaswini. And they introduced another award called Super Tejaswini. And I was the only recipient of Super Tejaswini. Basically, this award is to say that somebody who has come up in life, you know, after facing a lot of hardship. So I was the first recipient of this award called Super Tejaswini. And the author, Tamal Bandopadhyay, he wrote a book on the bank for the buck. That was a maiden book, and he interviewed about 200 people, but he just loved the experience of my customer service and the kind of accolades I'd got from customers, that out of 120,000 employees, mine is the only experience which he has captured in that book called Bank for the Buck. So why I'm saying all of this is the purpose. It's the fire in your belly. It just doesn't allow you to sleep. And you have to keep pushing. And if you believe that, you know, you do what you have to, the rest is up to him. I think that's what can take you through. Teachings. What has been my life's learning? I mentioned life is not perfect. It will throw a lot of challenges at you. You have to define purpose at every stage of life. It can't be that I decide today and then I forget about it. You have to keep on defining the purpose. So I told you, when I was in Balvikas, my purpose was I wanted to be in Anantapur College because I wanted to study in Swami's college. After I finished, I had a purpose. I am born because there is something that he has for me that I need to do, and I have to constantly push myself. So you define purpose at every point of time, and the purpose can be both personal and professional, as we saw in the earlier slide. What is most important is once you understand the purpose, and once you are about to face success in your life, you've got to make sure that the humility and arrogance has no role to play. We have seen so many people faltering. We all know, right? We have seen so many personalities fallen from the grace, right? Only because of humility and arrogance. Impact of Bhagwan's teachings. And let me tell you, every point that I've mentioned here has been the reason why I'm here in front of you today. Why fear when I am here? After I was born and brought up in a small place called Erode, suddenly imagine you're pushed into a world which is a place like Mumbai. You really have no clue what can hit you. And that is where Swami is saying, why fear when I'm here? And let me tell you this, I'll talk about a beautiful incident. When I was there was an external audit, an RBI audit is very, very serious. There was an audit in one of my branch that was under my supervision, and there was some mistake that they had found. And if that mistake had got escalated, maybe I would have lost my job, and maybe the bank's reputation would have gone for a toss, because RBI doesn't permit these kind of lapses. I used to live opposite Dharmakshetra in Mumbai, and I was talking to my dad saying, I have to face the audit and I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, there is a mistake, but I don't know what to do. It happened. It didn't happen with an intention. It just happened. I had no control over it. So I remember Dad saying, Gayatri, just go to Dharmakshetra, pray to Swami and go. I went. The auditor, the head of audit, Mr. Chakrapani, he is considered to be very, very powerful person in the bank, because anything to do with RBI audit, he takes it head on. And I was to meet him, and generally, I hope this is not reaching him, generally, if he is there in one particular floor, nobody even wants to go there. He's got that personality. But here I had to go and meet him. So I went to Dharmakshetra, prayed, and then went in front of Mr. Chakrapani, and I sat there. And I was fearing that something is going to happen. And I said, Swami, please take care of me. You know what happened? It so happened that he asked, where are you from? What did you do? So I said, I studied in Anantapur. Sathya Sai Baba's college? I said, yeah. No wonder. There is so much of sincerity in you. You couldn't have done this. I understand this just happened by mistake. Can you imagine? When I came out again, I was speechless. So, why fear when I'm here? Work is worship. I work 14 hours a day, and I talked about that adrenaline rush in the morning. After 32 years of banking, I still get up with the same adrenaline rush. And I tell myself, the day I don't have that rush, it's an indication that I probably have to retire. Life is a game played. All of this, Swami's teachings, this I owe it to, again, Balvikas, where I still remember when I was a Balvika student, every day we had to take a notebook where we had to say, today I did not lie. I don't know if it's still a prevalent practice. I didn't realize then But I realized later that the issue was not that you had to take the confirmation and go and submit to them. It is a practice they inculcated in you to tell you to always speak the truth and nothing but the truth, right? So value system, and leading a meaningful life, strong sense of integrity. As I said, the head of audit mentioned that, there is something very unique about about you. Incidentally, about 3-4 months back, my MD wanted to have a one-on-one discussion with me, and he's not the type to have this kind of discussion. So he called me, he said, "Is it okay on a Saturday at 8 o'clock? Can I talk to you only for half an hour?" I said, "MD speaking?" I said, "Sir, of course, yes, you can." So he set up the video call at 8 o'clock, and he started off. He said, "How are you, and what is your background? Where were you born?" and all of that, because he wanted to understand the details about the senior management people. So then he said, "So where have you studied?" So I said, "I studied in, I don't know if you know Sashi, I studied in Anantapur. I have been a Balvika student, and I studied in Sathya Institute of Higher Learning." He said, "Gayatri, there is something so beautiful about the people who come out of this college. They are so disciplined. They are so well behaved. Integrity is something which is non-negotiable as far as these people are concerned. I really intend to take more and more people from this institute." I mean, imagine. And that's where every point of time you get, as long as you don't compromise on your integrity, on your core values, success will automatically follow. My secret sauce, this is called power of 5. 5 power. Power of belief. We heard a lot of people speak in the morning. If you think you can do it, how many of you know the name Zion Clark? Anybody knows Zion Clark? He is called No Excuse Man. He has put a tattoo on his back, No Excuse Man, Zion Clark. I'll show you a video. When you see it, you will realize why I said self-belief. Power of acceptance. Accept what you can and what you cannot change. Please accept that you can't change and move on in life. Gratitude. Power of gratitude. Religion and power of giving. My icons, all of us know who this is, but you may not know this. Do you know who this is? Dr. Aditya Puri. Let me give you another 2 minutes. Dr. Aditya Puri started this Hdfc bank in a room which was 100 square feet, where the glass door was broken. He made a statement sitting in that room that I am going to build world-class bank. He was handpicked by Mr. Deepak Parekh, and he was in Citibank in Singapore. He was asked to leave his job and start this bank. The purpose of Dr. Puri then was to establish a world-class bank. Today, the bank is globally one of the top 100 most valuable brand. And that started off, it didn't start with, you remember I said it has to have that burning, you have to have that burning desire. And that desire, he actually started from that small place. And today we are the market leader across all products. We have 120,000 employees. We are a top 100 most valuable brand in the country, across the globe, not just in the country. And again, that is why he is my icon. Quickly, I'll take you through the financial services and banking as a career choice. Opportunity is in galore. Let me tell you that the opportunity is unbelievable today. There are multiple options in HDFC Bank itself. There are 25 streams. And depending on what kind of MBA, what has been your specialization, you can choose that and you can be very, very successful. Yes, challenges, I told you, nothing in life comes free unless you work hard for it. We all work on an average 14 hours a day. So a lot of challenges, but there are a lot of rewards and recognition too. There's one small, all of us know this famous quote. There's one small story that I would like to say and end the discussion. I had gone to IIM Ahmedabad for a leadership program, and one of the story that I heard, which remained with me, which is the most powerful story that I ever heard. So like you children, there were a set of students who wanted to prove the teacher wrong. And why? Because the teacher, they always were wondering, why is it that this teacher always has a right answer for anything and everything that you ask? The teacher knows everything. So the students decided that today we are going to prove this teacher wrong. They brainstormed and they collected, there were about 10 of them. They came up with a brilliant idea and they said, this idea will work, so today the teacher will be proven wrong. What was that? They caught hold of a butterfly and they said, if the teacher says that the butterfly is alive, we will crush the butterfly and we will then show the teacher that the butterfly is dead, so the teacher will be proven wrong. If the teacher says butterfly is dead, we will show that the butterfly is alive, so the teacher will be proven wrong. So they all were excited and they knew that on that particular day, they will come out as winners because the teacher is going to be proven wrong. So they went to the teacher and they said, hey teacher, I have a butterfly in my hand. Tell me, is this alive or this is dead? So what would have been the teacher's answer? Anyone? Sorry? Butterfly? Okay. Any other answer? Sorry? Any other answer? So the teacher said, looked at the student, and then the teacher quietly said, it's your choice. It's your choice. You want to keep the butterfly alive, or you want to keep the butterfly dead. The choice is in your hand. This small story is so powerful. It tells you the choice that you make in life is the one that decides whether you are going to be on the path to fulfill the purpose for which we are all here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful presentation. Madam started the presentation by putting forth various definitions of purpose and gave us a clear picture of difference between purpose and goal. Your talk pushed us to think and determine our purpose in life. Madam dwelled upon the two paths in human life, pravritti and navritti, that is the path of action and the path of inward contemplation, which resonated powerfully with Bhagwan's idea of karma yoga and Gyan Yoga. And then there came Sai students' favorite, Madam's experiences with Bhagwan, which kept us hooked till the end. I once again thank you, ma'am, for your valuable time. I want to show you that slide, one video.
I feel like I could destroy anybody, honestly. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very nice person. But at the same time, when I step into the mat, I step into the cage, I step into the ring, I'm out to knock off everybody's head. And that's what makes me happy, and that's what excites me. My name is Zion Clark. I'm a wrestler. I'm a Guinness World Record holder. I'm a professional track and field athlete, and I'm a motivational speaker. And this is No Days Off. One thing I learned from wrestling, and I was able to actually apply it to almost all aspects of my life, which is just the fact that you gotta just keep pushing forward, you gotta keep working hard, you gotta keep trusting the process. Because if you're putting in the work, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, good things will come of it. So I was born with caudal regressing syndrome. It's a very rare disease. It affects roughly 1 out of every 100,000 kids each year. Causes like portions of my spine to be missing and obviously me not to have legs. Today, I'm going to be taking you guys just through a little bit of what I do, and I'm going to show you guys just a little bit of how I get down and how I maintain with my body pretty much every day. And so you guys are going to get to see some real monsters in the gym. When I first got introduced into wrestling, I was in 2nd grade. It looked honestly really fun to me. 17 years have gone by and I'm still doing it to this day. From youth all the way up till my junior year of high school, didn't win hardly a single match. And then, I kind of just decided to sacrifice some things I like to do. I had to sacrifice part of what I was doing with instruments and band to focus on high school wrestling full time. So for 3 months over the summer between my junior and senior year, I trained 2-3 times a day, 7 days a week. By the time my senior year came around, I went from being one of the worst to one of the best in the country and one of the best in the state of Ohio. I moved to California in general because of pure opportunity. I already had people asking me to come out and do different things. I never really saw a good opportunity to go just stay out there and do that. And then the Ellen show happened. And my buddy Joey, he was out here and he was like, bro, you could stay at my crib. Next thing you know, I'm training with some of the most elite fighters on the planet. When you fight with somebody every day and you train like that, drawing blood, tempers flaring, either you learn to really dislike somebody or you learn to love them because they're the ones that's making you better, pushing you further. The first achievement that really brought everything to a reality, I would say, was my first tournament I went to, my senior year of high school. I won my first 5 matches, so I was undefeated, but a tournament's a whole different game, and I bumped up a whole weight class. I found out that, all right, if I hit this one certain move called a tilt on everybody, I was gonna win. And next thing you know, I felt pretty good about myself and just kept winning after that, and only lost 15 times out of 40. My family is known for having multiple state champs. We're just a very athletic-driven family. They got to the point where I had to get drug tested because they thought that I was using performance-enhancing drugs. I had to do all this stuff to prove. I was like, dude, I'm just working hard. That's all this is. My cousin, my sister, my uncle, we have something special about us that when we're driven, that we will keep pushing way past the point of exhaustion.
My name's Craig Levinson. I'm Zion's mentor, manager, and also his trainer. I'll do anything for him, and I think vice versa. He had a lot of stigma and negativity growing up, and 17 years in foster care. It was difficult. I always was moving somewhere new, and I had been jumping around home since I was 2-3 years old. The way I was able to honestly just survive it was just the fact I had wrestling, I had friends that I made. I look forward to going to school more than I would be at home, so I would stay and try to get as many extracurricular activities as I could. He was living in survival for 17 years. Now he's in a mindset of thriving, and it's a whole different shift of mentality to allow people into his life and to allow good into his life. Currently he trains 5-6 days a week, depending on what his focus is, if it's wrestling or track. He's a multi-sport athlete. We'll tailor his workouts based on what performance we're trying to excel in. For example, if it's wrestling, we'll focus more on plyometric style training, building explosive upper body power, and we'll do that through a lot of resistance band work, medicine ball rotation, explosive bench press, and shoulder workouts. When it is more track generated, it's all about quick hand speed. That's used for the way he strikes the chair. With regards to that, it's more being quick on his hands through ladder work, agility, and cones. I hate the lift.
but I do it anyways because it's very beneficial. I'm not the type of guy that lifts to look big. I'm gonna lift more for stamina. Yeah, I can lift over 200, 300 pounds, but at the same time, I'm not doing it for the weight, I'm doing it for the reps. So the way I got the Guinness record, I was at Redondo Beach in Los Angeles. We were just doing like a lifestyle shoot. I told the camera dude, I was like, hey bro, you trying to like try to keep up with me while I do these sprints real quick? Next thing you know, Guinness is calling us because they had seen the video of me running on my Instagram page. And next thing you know, I'm in my hometown, had Olympic medalist Butch Reynolds there, big support group. My mom, my family, all got to watch me just completely just dismantle this record, and it was awesome.
He inspires me with everything he does. The biggest one is his mentality. He has infectious energy and just the smile on his face, and also, you know, not taking things for granted. Always a reminder to him is, you know, do what makes you happy and do what genuinely you enjoy in life, and like, you can't go wrong.
Let's get to it. When it comes to wrestling or any other martial art, they're all different forms of fighting. With wrestling being the very first form of fighting ever discovered on the planet. With wrestling, you're really just imposing your will onto one another, and you're doing it in the most painful way possible. And when you finally win that battle over somebody, all the adrenaline, all the emotions, they just come pouring out.
My name is Coach Charles Martinez. I'm the head MMA and kickboxing coach here at the arena in San Diego. Zion's always good to work with. He's very motivated. He's obviously a hard worker, and you can see it in everything that he does. He's always kind of trying to push the envelope and try and find a way to challenge himself. And this is a challenge for anybody. Like, a lot of principles in fighting are just standard principles that go across the board, but you have to apply it specifically per body type. So like, trying to find ways to make it work specifically for him is fine, because I'm used to adjusting training styles for different body types anyway.
My mind is just blank when I'm wrestling, and I just let my body move. Because when it comes to wrestling and martial arts, I've trained certain moves thousands and thousands of times, to the point where, say that I was grabbing your wrist, I could close my eyes and still take you down, just because my body's so accustomed to just moving on its own. Right now, in martial arts, working on a lot of my striking is just something I could improve on, just to open up more takedowns. Because the more I can open up a takedown, the easier it's going to be for me to beat you up, and that's what we want.
He's willing to push. He doesn't feel as if there needs to be any special, well, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. He's willing to do anything we throw at him. You know, and that's just kind of part of his content of character.
Arena on three, arena on three. 1, 2, 3, arena!
So immediate goals is to continue building his story as a motivational speaker and just inspiring people from different walks of life to realize their only limitation is yourself. And Zion's a prime example of that through how he lives his life. A bigger goal of ours is to be the first ever Olympian and Paralympian at the same Olympics. And I think he has the capability to accomplish it with his mindset.
My goal for Paris 2024 is to win gold medals in wrestling, track and field, bring home to my mom, and get right back to it. Because I don't want to just stop at one. I want more than one. I want as many as I can possibly get out of myself. But it's what our living is. We focus all of our time into being that athlete. Because once you hit that world stage, it's a different type of beast.
The 4 years I've known him, you know, I've seen him grow tremendously as an athlete, as an individual, as a philanthropist, and want to give back and inspire the next generation.
So the ways I like to give back, I like to speak at schools quite a bit. I've also started a GoFundMe, and I'm going to be giving back to the foster care system, but not directly to the system. It's going to be more focused on the actual kids and setting them up with a good way to live.
His ability to look at himself as I want to challenge myself, instead of I want to make excuses why I can't do something else. And I think that should inspire anybody. People just always have an excuse. You know, so I think his ability to look at something and not make excuses for it, I think is inspiring to anybody.
No days off to me kind of means almost the same thing as no excuses. You don't complain, you don't whine, you don't make any problems for yourself bigger than what they should be. You make sure your place is clean, you make sure that you have your set plan straight. You do it every single day because you're working towards a bigger goal. No excuses.
Thank you, ma'am, once again for your valuable time. I now request Dr. Mrs. G. Padmavati, Associate Head, Department of Management and Commerce, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, to bestow upon a small token of love to our eminent speaker and loving sister, Mrs. Gayatri Rao. Carrying forward the session, I am honored to introduce our next speaker, Madam Bharti Krish, who will be addressing us on the topic Life Lessons in the context of Confluence of Shakti, Siddhi and Samsiddhi. Madam is a transformation coach and impact professional. In the context of her corporate life, she has been a stalwart member of Women in Leadership for more than a decade. She served in a variety of positions as Senior Vice President, Senior Manager, and Head of Financial and Regulatory Planning. She led large teams of over 250 employees in delivery and transformational phase. Not only that, Madam is also a chartered accountant and a certified coach under International Coach Federation and Certified Coaches Alliances. This description does not completely describe her many accomplishments. However, we are sure that as we hear Madam speak, her knowledge and capability will be obvious. With these few words, I welcome you to the dais, Madam Bharti Krish.
Good afternoon, good evening, good day. There's nowhere else I'd like to be now than in front of this audience speaking about my life experiences. You know, when my friend first called me a few weeks back to tell me that I have to be in this program, like Gayatri ma'am, I was equally nervous and tense. I have had experience speaking to corporate audiences, but this is my first with a large section of students. Students, as we know, can be very tough to impress. Anyway, I thought I'll be brave enough to handle it when the organizers sent me the schedule of this program. I took a look at it and I almost panicked. I was the last speaker in a day-long program. Just imagine. There are two aspects to this, right? The first, the other speakers are really eminent. They captured our hearts and our imagination, and I knew that would happen just looking at their profiles. Engaging sessions, each one of them so fascinated and inspiring. And that is what I have to back. Lot of pressure, right? The other aspect that I panic for is the last session is always the session where everybody looks longingly at the door because freedom beckons. So I have one appeal to make. If people ask you, how was the session of Bharti Krish? I think, I'm okay if you say good, okay, bad, but don't do, I really don't know what she spoke because I was busy looking at the watch. Jokes apart, I want to thank you for inviting me to this esteemed stage along with such esteemed speakers, the Vice Chancellor, the head of the department, and each one of you who are patiently waiting to hear the life lessons that I have to share. I would like to talk to you about some experiences in my life that could help you walk into the real world with a lot more confidence and energy. The first one that I would like to talk about is about making choices. I think the speakers in the morning did touch upon it. 30 years back, don't quickly calculate my age. 30 years back, let's picture how the world was, especially in India. parents were barely having a moderate education, trying to make both ends meet. They were taking care of their family, but did not quite have the time or the expertise to sit with them to have any meaningful discussion. No mobile, forget mobile, no phones, no internet. So when children had to make decisions about what is the course that they want to study, or what is the job that they want to take, all they had was word of mouth or newspapers. They went with the flow and took their decisions. Same thing happened to me. All those years back, I did my chartered accountancy and passed it with a rank. Yeah, much to the surprise of my family, same as her, and friends. They were like, really? Are you sure you saw the results properly? There's a story behind why that question came and why the surprise. Maybe that's for another day. Any of you interested can give me a call. But yeah, I said, yeah, I did get a rank. And rank holders those days, and I think the practice continues, are offered jobs from large corporates. So I got offers from Citibank, Hdfc, I don't even remember. So the natural thing for me would have been to choose that, join one of them and climb the corporate ladder. But those days, there was a craze going on for merchant banking. Just like fintech probably is a sunrise industry today, the craze was for merchant banking. So I decided to join a small startup in Murugappa Group in merchant banking space. My parents, who's really struggling for financial comfort, could have very well said, are you crazy? You're giving up a pay packet and a comfortable career for a startup? But they didn't do that. They supported me unconditionally, no questions asked. So how did my startup stint go? The first day of my office, I went with energy and enthusiasm, like we all do, only to be told by my boss, you're not going to be doing the merchant banking job as promised. What you have to do in this startup is petty cash handling and journal entries. I was heartbroken and humiliated. Don't get me wrong, there is dignity in every job, no doubt. But when you pass chartered accountancy with a rank, you expect some quality from the job. So I was humiliated, yeah, sitting with the petty cash box, people, the staff coming and asking for cash for conveyance and lunch, and that was my life, jerking in journals. I used to lament to my family members. And like those days, you don't just quit a job and just find another job, you know. They should be patient. So I was patient. After a year, I was asked to handle treasury additionally. And then later on, shortly after that, I quit and joined an NBFC as part of the treasury team. And thus began my career in treasury and corporate finance in banking and financial services industry. So the first thing that I would like to tell you is make your own choices. You may not have the wisdom to make those choices, and you may not always be right in your choices. Make them anyway. Trust your destiny. It will protect you. Today, the parents, I'm a parent, so I'm guilty of whatever I'm going to say. Today, the parents are very different, right? There's a lot of information at their hands. There's internet. They are very decently educated. All of them have careers. They are in a very good position to give advice. So what happens today when the child needs to take up a course, or a career, there's a discussion of pros and cons. And eventually the child takes a decision, invariably to fall in line with whatever is the parental view or large indication of what that is. Don't do that. Get out of your parents' shadow and listen to what you want. Then look at the beauty of the independence in decision making and enjoy that. That's the first thing that I want to talk to you about. The next thing I want to talk to you about, and from my own experience that I shared, is nothing teaches you better than failure. J.K. Rowling said, actually, for fear of failure, if you stop making choices, then your life will be stagnant, and then that itself will mean failure. Imagine leading a life with nothing great happening, nothing exciting. It's just the same, every day looking like the other. That then becomes a failure by itself. She's right. So you may not have, when you make those choices, you may not face success today. But you will find success pretty soon because you're trusting your destiny. What is success? What is failure? Think about it for a minute. Today, what we discuss and decide as success and failure are not what we define for ourselves, isn't it? It is what the society defines as success. If a person gets into a good university, passes with good marks, gets a day one campus job, very good pay packet, marries someone in his league. The other day I was looking at Facebook, there was a video ad. I think the brand ambassador was Karan Johar. There was a video ad which says, IITIIMshadi.com. Really, it's there. They have set up a matrimonial website for those of you who want to marry IIT, IIM graduates. Don't get me wrong, they are human beings too. But the classification, right? Have you noticed it's like the difference between army men and the civilians. You go to an army man, he'll always say, you civilians. Actually, they deserve every respect, please. But there is a distinction. So, yeah. You marry someone in your league, you have kids on time, the list is endless, right? That is considered success. You meet an average Joe who's probably a BCom in some unknown university, married someone very, very ordinary, procrastinated, doesn't have property. Forget others, his own child will call him a failure. Right? Don't go by that. You are Gen Z and millennials. You should set your own definition of what is success, what is failure, and live by that. The most frequently asked question today by any adult to a kid. Can you say? What do you want to be? Exactly. What do you want to be when you grow up? Forget others. We ask our own children, right? And in a conversation, if the child says tattoo artist, you get a huge laugh because it's silly and not a profession to be seriously considered. So, you see, when you ask the question, what do you want to be, especially if the child is 6 or 7 years old, there's already that insecurity that sets into the child. Oh God, I better say something really important so that I live up to the standard of what is expected by my parents. I better do something that earns the respect. A NASA, you know, your kids, it's very fancy for kids these days to say, I want to be a NASA scientist. They feel these words create the right impression from the adults, you know what I mean? So those are the standards being set today by just asking a simple question. Let me go back to my story. So I joined the treasury and corporate finance roles in banking and financial services industry, climbed the corporate ladder, worked nationally, internationally, several roles, had decades of it. Don't get me wrong, every day of work in such organizations was exciting. I was doing something meaningful. I had terrible times, challenging times. They were all right with me because I was loving every moment of it. Until a few years back, I had a personal situation that demanded my attention, and I quit my career. And it is only when I did that, it became clear to me that that is not what I wanted. That is not what made me happy at all. And then I didn't want to join back the corporate life. I discussed with my mentors, with some well-wishers, and changed completely the dial of my life, and at the tender age of 50, set up a new career as a transformation coach. So here I am. At every stage in your life, you may be doing the routine things. You may be just going with the flow of destiny. That's okay. As long as you ask yourself one fundamental question: am I happy doing what I'm doing? Am I happy what I'm doing? Ask yourself that question, and if you have an answer, go for it. Nothing right, nothing wrong. So graduates, don't go for post-graduation because that's the right thing to do. Postgraduates, don't go for large organizations with larger pay packets because that's what the society lauds. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do I want to do? From today, let's take a decision not to ask any kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Instead, let's say, well, how do you want to contribute to this world when you grow up? You know, that then makes the kid realize, okay, there's something larger that I have to contribute to. You can sit down and make your own list, actually. Make a list of all the things you like, all the things you don't like. And then ask yourself the question, where did these likes come from? Where did these dislikes come from? Did it come from a video trending on social media? Did it come from an expression in a family discussion? Slowly you find that you're a product of impressions and influences. That's why you see increasing number of youngsters getting to a point that they really wanted to and still being unhappy. Why? Because that was not their dream anyway. When I passed out CA, I actually said at the age of 36, I want to own a Mercedes Benz. So 36 came, I had the money, but that held no charm for me anymore. Why did I even have that desire first? Because that was the trend. Everybody wanted something fancy. I also wanted something fancy. Everybody wants fintech. I want fintech. I'm saying don't go by that. Make your own choices. Remember the question to ask, how do I contribute? So I'm going to make you guys contribute. Can I have 4 volunteers on stage, please, for my next session? Nothing to be scared. You just have to read out some things. Just 4 volunteers. Okay, let's give them all a round of applause for being brave, to have volunteered for something unknown, to go where no man has gone before. I'm going to talk to them for a few minutes about what they need to do. Just give me a few minutes. So while they are preparing for the activity, I'm going to give you a context. I'm going to talk about something profound. But before that, in today's world, do you see that there's a lot of information that is flooding us day after day? Even if there is a symptom, then we go on the net, find what are the impact of these symptoms. There are a million options that we come up with, what the symptom could lead to. We are flooded with information on any topic that we need to know about, right? Take options, not just on the net. You go to any store. The reason I'm talking about information, there's a problem of plenty, whether it's information or options, with the result that we are constantly distracted. So we walk into a store, forget the net, right? We talk a lot about online distractions. Let's talk about offline. We go to a store. Often it happens to me. I go to a store to buy something and then I see something, oh, this my daughter likes. Oh, this one's, I just get carried away by some discounted price, something is available. I get carried away and I end up forgetting what I really came for. Happens to us, right? So many of these thoughts flooding us is constantly causing distraction, and that is impacting our attention span. Microsoft did a study a few years back which said that the attention span of human beings is now 8 seconds. Can you believe that? Because of digitization. So what I'm going to demonstrate is these 4 lovely ladies represent one thought in my mind. So let's see what are the kind of thoughts I have today.
So
there's a song going on in my mind.
Need to ensure I read up about fintech and what's happening there on an everyday basis. I have joined this industry and must appear knowledgeable to those in my team, including my boss. Need to make a good first impression. I will not get a second chance to make a first impression.
So these are my thoughts, right? One thought has nothing to do with the other, random.
How come that... Hello, Sairam. How come that guy got into day 1 organization in the campus recruitment and I didn't? Am I not good enough? Why are the best things in life always not happening to me and instead happening to someone else all the time? I am sincere, bright, hardworking. What more should I do?
How could my mom hide my phone? I was just looking at it for half an hour. I am much better than all of my friends who continuously watching. Does she not realize that? I am fed up from her nagging. I am just going to ignore her from now.
So some of our minds operate this way, right? We jump from one thought to another, random, no connection all the time. But some of us have this problem.
Need to ensure I read up about fintech and what's happening there on everyday basis.
I got into day one organization in the campus recruitment, and
How
I
could my mom
Am I
hide
not
my
good
phone?
enough?
I was
Why are
just
the best
talking
things
for
in
half an hour.
life always
I am
happening to me?
So you see what's happening? Our mind is constantly distracted with multiple random thoughts and an attention span is completely minimized. If I'm singing a song, how can I sing a song well if my mind is thinking of so many other things, right? So that's a lesson we need to keep in mind as we operate through life. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you. See, by constantly thinking of too many things, we take away the magic of the moment, right? There is a natural intelligence in all of us that needs to come out. Give it that space. That's all I'm saying. As each of you stand at the threshold of your student life, real world beckons. While you do that, all of you need to have a perspective that is uniquely yours. What do I mean? I'll tell you a small story, entirely fictional. There's a 6-year-old son who was constantly nagging his father with questions. Pa, why is this way? Why is that? You know how a 6-year-old can be. And the father is busy working on an office project in the computer. He's not able to focus because there's this constant bombarding from the son. What? Why? So the father gets fatigued. He wants to complete his project quite fast. He desperately wants to give his son something to keep him occupied. His eyes falls on a newspaper that has got the picture of a world map. So he immediately grabs it, tears it into pieces and gives it to his son. And he says, look at the world map. There's a world map on the wall of his, and he says, these pieces you need to put together like a puzzle in order to make this world map. The son says, Pa, it's fun, believe me, and I'll come and join you soon. So he goes to his project, the son attempts it. The father's happy, I'm going to have a couple of hours of peace time, I finish my projects, then I give him my complete attention. To his shock, the son comes to him in half an hour and says, I finished. He had really finished putting together the pieces to create the exact replica of the world map. The father asked him, how did you do it? The son said, all I did was put the man together. On the other side of the map was a picture of a man. All he did was put that together. So you see, he came to that job with a completely different perspective and still managed to succeed in lesser time than the father ever imagined. So this unique perspective of yours should be your Shakti, your superpower. Having identified what your superpower is, you need to harness that. You need to protect that. How is it possible? We are constantly bombarded with external happenings which is causing us a lot of stress and anxiety, isn't it? When we are waiting in queue, we are constantly thinking, how come that queue is moving faster than ours? When there is a power cut, we're profusely sweating, we're working on something, not able to focus. Just when we are going to complain to the electricity board, we hear someone pass a comment about us. We are all over the place in our mood, right? How do we then harness our inner, unique self, which is distinct to us? Because we are constantly being pulled in all directions by the stress and anxiety around us. Ed Milet compares it to regulating the temperature in a room. He says, when you're in a room and the external world is very hot, what do? You try to switch on the fan or the cooler or the air conditioner. People who don't have money even pour water on the floor to bring the temperature down. You regulate the temperature of a room so that you're comfortable. Likewise, when the temperature is extremely cold outside, you try to switch on the heater, light a fire, something, right? He says, similarly, you need to protect the temperature and the calmness inside you. There will always be stress and anxiety around. You need to protect that, just like you protect your physical body from extreme heat and cold. But how? How do we do that? The way we do that is all the time tell ourselves we are exactly where we need to be. It's completely the opposite today, right? When we are waiting for a transaction in the bank, we are like, oh my God, I hope this gets over fast so that I can go home. Okay, when we go home, oh my God, I hope I eat fast so that I can. We are in a constant rush to get to the next moment of our life. That includes me. All of us are in a constant rush. The minute we take the approach of we are exactly where we need to be, then you start looking at what's happening around us. We pay attention to the present moment. We realize the beauty and magic of what it brings. The stress vanishes and there is a little bit of calmness in our heart. And that is enough for us to experience life, protect our inner Shakti, whatever it is that we spoke about. Actually, that is the fundamental state of all the Mahatmas, if you think about it. They are merely just relaxed about where they are. They could have 100 appointments that day. They could be just 5 minutes short of getting out of the room. But they'll behave as though they've got 5 hours. They are enjoying the moment. And thus, they can do million things more than what you and me can do. Nothing phenomenal, right? Simple. But that simple thing requires effort from us. We need to keep at it. And now I come to the final session or section of the session. Because the women is the large part of the audience here, I thought I should speak about that a little bit. From the times women were by default homemakers, up until today when women are making choices, women are a lot more confident. We've come a long way, right? But that's just one layer of the onion peel. There are several layers to this issue. And I'm not here to talk about those aspects that there are far more equipped people to talk about. I am here to say that a man and a woman have completely different perspectives of life, which should be celebrated. In the name of equality, there is no need for a woman to become like a man or a man to become like a woman. Once there was a couple who was driving back home in a car from a dinner party. And the wife is talking about what happened in the party. You notice that girl said this and that. So the husband is not reacting much. Yeah. What happened? I know when I said that in the party, you looked at me. Were you upset? So she goes on throughout the car ride trying to find out what is causing her husband to be upset and quiet. They reach their house and they do the routine things, and in the end, both of them write their diaries. The woman writes in her diary, husband upset with me. Need to find out why. The husband writes, India lost the match to Pakistan. Damn. That's all there is to it. I'm not saying every husband and wife issue is like this, but just to give you an example that people come with their own perspectives, and that is to be celebrated, not changed. In fact, in our culture, we say that the masculine and feminine energy are part of every individual. And if the masculine energy is predominant in a person, then you'll see more display of strength, practicality. And if the feminine energy is more dominant, you see empathy, love, resilience, a lot more of those characteristics. So if there is a balance, you lead a balanced life. And the other thing I want to speak to the woman audience here is speak up. Simple, speak up. Speak up when you want something. An innate nature that we have as women is we feel it will happen if it has to happen. Whether it's a corporate or we want to sing a song on stage, but we feel the teacher should select us. How will the teacher know that you want it? Just put up your hand. What is the worst thing that will happen? The teacher will say, not you. At least she'll know, okay, she raised her hand. So speak up when you want something. Speak up when you are bending backwards in a relationship in order to accommodate the other. Speak up when your maid is not being treated properly. Speak up when a man speaks disrespectfully to someone. Speak up. Speak up when it matters so that you matter. Speak up when it counts so that you're just not a number in a census. Speak up when it happens and make a difference to that person. The Me Too movement to me is a passé thing. You're speaking up much too late rather than when it happened. So speak up when it happens and make a difference to that person. So my dear friends, go well. These are the life lessons that I hope will become your secret superpower that brings you accomplishment and completeness. Those are the words that represent Shakti, Siddhi and Samsiddhi. Like I said, I know I'm standing between you and that door. So I will just wind up with a heartfelt wish that each of you find your happiness and success by unlocking who you truly are. Let every low give you a determination to jump higher, and every high fill you with gratitude. Bear in mind the universe is listening and is eager to help you in whatever you want to do. Trust that and march on. I once again thank you for this tremendous opportunity to speak before all of you. May the infinite grace of our Guru be with us every step of our life. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the incredible clarity of thoughts and delightfully entertaining presentation. Few takeaway lessons from Madam's talk are: trust your destiny, it will protect you. Secondly, protect your inner calmness. Thirdly, define your own success and live by it. And lastly, celebrate the diversity of perspectives in people rather than changing them. We are very grateful to you, ma'am, for taking time out of your busy schedule to address us. I also extend my sincere thanks to our loving sister, Madam Uttara Rao, who is an alumna of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, for introducing us to Madam Bharti Krish. I now request Dr. U. Suma Rao, Department of Management and Commerce, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, to present the memento to our distinguished speaker, Madam Bharti Krish, and our dear loving sister, Madam Uttara Raghu. Come towards the end of one day long workshop which has been absorbing and enriching. I request Ms. Aishwarya Lakshmi Narayan, student of second year MBA, to share with all of us the key takeaways from the workshop entitled Confluence of Shakti, Siddhi and Samsiddhi.
मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजयत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिलहृजयत्रीम् आत्मवदेव परानपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् जननी पृथिवी कामदुघास्ते जनको देवः सकलदयाळु दाम्यत दत्त दयत्वं जनता श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां. Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan. I choose this as my opening lines because this was the lines that was given by Kanchi Mahaperivar to MS Subbalakshmi Amma when she went to attend the UN Assembly to promote peace and harmony. This song in itself combines the various elements of Shakti, Siddhi and Samsiddhi. It states the culture of the land and it brings out what this land and the women of this land stand for. The session today began with Today's session has been a day of immense learning, growth, and knowledge sharing, wherein various speakers empowered young minds, paving the path for success. I am sure the participants of this session have indeed gained momentum in the quest for knowledge, power, and success. The morning session began with the reverberating Durga Suktam, praising the Divine Mother, who is herself Shakti, Siddhi, and Samsiddhi put together. In the welcome address, Madam Dr. U. Suma set the stage for the day by explaining the meaning and significance of the title of the day. Following the welcome address was the introductory remarks given by the head of the Department of Management and Commerce, Shri Sai Manohar Sir, who firmly believes that life is all about choices And if we look back at today's events, each speaker mentioned extremely emphasizing on the importance of choice. Sir said life is a journey filled with constant choices, and it is up to us to take charge of our lives and upgrade ourselves. Sir, it shall be our endeavor to be among the some who make things happen. In the inaugural address, the Registrar Sir started off by mentioning that management is all about common sense, possibly because maybe common sense is not all that common. Sir then shared the insightful, the 5S pyramid, the bottom being self-belief, then self-confidence, self-satisfaction, self-sacrifice, and self-realization being on top. Sir quoted Bhagwan and emphasized that low aim is a crime. Aim high and soar high. Going ahead, the keynote address was delivered by the Vice Chancellor Sir, who emphasized on the significance of innovation and its various aspects. Interestingly, through the course of Sir's speech, it was evident to me that even polar domains have a common undercurrent. While Sir mentioned about diagnosis, intervention, and ecosystems in the medical realm, my mind parallelly thought about the same being the processes of an OD consultant to institutionalize a change of a plant development in an organization. Going ahead, the guest speakers of the day, the first speaker, Mrs. Premamala Ramalingam, began the session with the death exercise. This got us thinking about each of our brands, our own personal brands. She went on to list out the various aspects of a brand, being core strength, communication, perceived quality, and consistency. Ma'am concluded the session with a witty yet insightful exercise, the silk exercise. Bringing in a fresh and melodious perspective was the next speaker, Mrs. Vidya Shah, also contributing to the topic, goals and self-awareness. Ma'am is a firm believer of the fact that if you want to do something, you must go for it. Her mantra being, if risk is your calling, take it. Ma'am, thank you for taking the initiative of the Women on Record. It was truly inspiring. The session then went on with the next speaker, Mrs. Sosmita Sheshadri. Ma'am listed out 6 different aspects: conquering fear of the unknown, building credibility, creating visibility, leading without title, challenging the status quo, and maintaining balance. She said, be ready, be open, and challenge the status quo. She also asked a question: how many of us did something new in the recent past? I think that is something each one of us have to think over and maybe put it into practice. Try out something new today or maybe sometime soon. Next up was in the afternoon session were the 2 speakers who very interestingly brought about the various aspects of living a life of purpose and life lessons in the context of the theme. Ma'am, thank you for again reiterating the purpose of our lives today. Through the course of the presentation, we could rethink on various domains of what the actual purpose of our lives could be and of the why of our being. Going ahead, ma'am also shared various experiences of her times in Anantapur, which is one of the most interesting things that we as Sai students love to hear, as the sister earlier mentioned. In the next session that Mrs. Bharti Krish ma'am took over, ma'am said, listen to yourself, something that we don't do very often. She said, nothing teaches you better than a failure. Ma'am, I could relate to you when you said about the NASA element for I always wanted to become an aeronautical engineer and I wanted to go to NASA. So when you said NASA, I said yes, that was true. You brought about the perspectives, something that was very eye-opening. It was for a management student like me and like for everyone here today, it is important that we understand the different perspectives and incorporate them than to change them, as you said. The goal will be to celebrate perspectives now and not to change them. To conclude with, dear speakers, I'd like to say, if time is money, then today we as students have earned millions. Thank you so much for sharing each of your thoughts with us. On a concluding note, I'd like to quote the great leader John F. Kennedy. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. The endeavor will be to live by them now on. Thank you so much. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you for beautifully summarizing the main points of the workshop. It is now my pleasant duty to invite Dr. Mrs. G. Padmavati, Associate Head, Department of Management and Commerce, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, to propose the vote of thanks. A few words before Madam takes over the dais. She is a teacher par excellence in human resources and organizational behavior with an experience of 17 long years. Warm and approachable in nature, she is a person to go to in all our activities. Madam's classes are filled with real-life examples, which not only prepare her students for corporate career but also for a balanced, happy life. This introduction will remain incomplete without mentioning that Madam is an excellent negotiator. With these few words, I feel honored to welcome Dr. Mrs. G. Padmavati to deliver the vote of thanks.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my humble salutation at the divine lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. When Bharati Krish ma'am was talking, she was telling students are now between me and the main door. Now I am telling students are between the main door and the gate. But respected elders and my dear students, good evening all. As all good things come to an end in life, so is the seminar. Once a great man said, feeling thankfulness and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words. Our utmost gratitude to Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, our founder chancellor, for providing us with this unique educational system and philosophy of education which has enabled hundreds of students to get quality education absolutely free of cost. On behalf of the Department of Management and Commerce, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this confluence on Shakti, Siddhi and Samsiddhi. Organized by Department of Management and Commerce, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Anantapur campus. A seminar like this is not possible without so many hands joining in, so many hands contributing in order to make the event successful. At the outset, we are thankful to our respected Chancellor, respected Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. C.B. Sanjeevi, Registrar Professor Dr. Sai Giridhar for their motivation and selfless support. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our Director, Madam Dr. Prafulla, Warden Dr. Sharda Subramaniam, and senior faculty members for their timely support and suggestions. I would like to thank our Head of the Department, Dr. Sai Manogar, for his enthusiastic support, constant guidance and encouragement, and his eye to details. And I have to specially thank him for introducing such wonderful speakers to Anantapur campus. Thank you very much, sir. Most important, a very, very big thanks to all the guest speakers who have come from different parts of India to deliver the lecture in this seminar. Thank you very much for your contribution, for your time, and putting up with my constant email and messages to ensure that you get here. I remember when I was continuously trying to reach Gayatri ma'am, she sent me a message, "Can you give me some time to reply?" Okay. I thank Mrs. Premamala Ramalingam, Managing Director at Jova, India, Ms. Soshmita Sheshatri, Director Delivery Excellence, Cognizant, Chennai, Mrs. Gayatri Rao, Vice President, HDFC Bank, Mumbai, and Mrs. Bharati Krish, Transformation Coach and Impact Professional, Chennai. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, ma'am. My special thanks to Mr. Gokul Nath, CEO of Cryptos Technologies, Chennai, and Mr. S.R. Chandrasekhar, State President, Chennai Metro, for helping us in shaping the seminar. We also thank them for introducing the eminent speakers. Our technology support team needs a special mention. I thank Mr. Raghuram, Deputy Manager. He came yesterday, he stayed, and he worked overnight and helped in live streaming the program. So we are extremely grateful to you, sir. Thank you very much. And Mr. Venugopal, Deputy Manager, Mrs. Tabasam, and she's always with us. and she's Senior Technical Assistant, and Mrs. Bindu Madhavi, Assistant Manager, and our Miss Mithula ma'am, okay, for their untiring effort in live streaming the seminar and for all the technical arrangements. And I'm sure that this is one of the toughest job to be done. So I'm extremely thankful to the entire team of technical experts here. Our thanks to the contingent staff, Akkas and Annas, for their support. Last but not the least, special thanks to the entire DMC team members, my dear faculty members, and my dear students for their contribution in organizing this seminar. And a wide round of applause and thanks to all the participants who made the event a memorable one. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us make this event a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for expressing gratitude on behalf of all of us. We shall now conclude with Aarti, and I request Sister Uttara Raghu and Sister Gayatri Rao to offer Mangal Aarti to Bhagwan.
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्तजना संरक्षक भक्तजना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आबद बांधवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियंतयु नीवे स्वामी मरियंतयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नागेन्द्राशयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंदुको मंगल आरती अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा